Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for coming. I'd like to welcome you into the Yancey County Board of Commissioners regular business meeting for June the 9th, 2025. I would like to call this meeting to order, and I ask Commissioner Ledford if he would lead us in our invocation, and then Commissioner Green, if she will, to lead us in our pledge. So, Mark.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you for all your blessings that you've given us here in Yancey County, Lord. And we just ask, dear God, that you would help us tonight, Lord, as we convene over the business of Yancey County. That you would continue to bless us, Lord, and just help us, Lord, to do your will, Lord. Help us to do what's right for Yancey County. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All rise, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks so much, ladies. For those of you that did not get an agenda, there is a full agenda tonight. We've got a lot of items, a lot to talk about, plus a closed session, so it's going to be a late night. So do we have approval of the agenda? Anybody have any questions or comments? We have a motion to approve the agenda. Do I hear a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. Next is our consent agenda. Several items on the consent agenda. We have the approval of the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council County Plan. Then we have the approval of the Gould-Killian financial audit contract for fiscal year 26. The approval of the fiscal year 25-26 DSS attorney's contract for legal services, Hockaday and Hockaday, Donnie J. Law's attorney, and Leake and Stokes, PLLC. Then we have the approval of request release and adjustment of taxes on Yancey County owned parcel lot 27, Sugarloaf Mountain Estates. Approval of the revised capital project ordinance for Ray Court Park renovations phase 2. The approval of the capital project ordinance for Kidd Mountain Park. The approval of the capital project ordinance Tropical Storm Helene debris removal. Approval of the road naming request Browns Creek Campground Drive. Approval of amended loan agreement between the State of North Carolina Department of State Treasury in Yancey County. Approval of the April 2025 tax collection reports for informational purposes. And then finally, for the May 25 tax collection reports, also for informational purposes, as we do every month. Any discussion or any comments, anything about the consent agenda?
Accept.
Have a motion to accept the consent agenda. Do I hear a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion carries. Department head updates. We've got two this month. Mr. Matthew Martin is our IT director. Matthew, thanks for coming. If you will, just make your way to the podium and give us an update. Tell us what's going on in the IT world.
Well, in the IT world, we recently updated our Yancey County webpage, and with that, we have last year came out a standard for the Digital Accessibility and Usability Act, required that all local government websites be compliant with ADA standards. In response, Yancey County is actively working hard towards full compliance with the target of having all online documents ADA compliant by the end of fiscal year 2026. The final deadline for this standard is actually April 26, 2027, and that's for all government entities less than 50,000 people. So we're trying to keep a year ahead of schedule.
Well, that's good. Thank you.
The main challenges with the ADA compliance is to ensure that every document on our website is fully accessible to users with visual impairments. This allows them to use screen readers that are compatible with web-based text, assess alternative text for images so the applications can read the picture and they can explain what the visually impaired are looking at, and descriptive captions for charts, graphs, and tables. Each document must be clearly conveyed in its content through accessible formats, which requires a significant investment of time and attention to detail. With that, we're going department by department, pretty much doing initial contact with the department head, letting them know that all the documents on the webpage that they're currently hosting, to say, hey, these are the ones we're looking at to see if, one, they are, to quality where we can scan them to our software. From there, as long as they meet compliance, we then run it through the software to see if it needs to be updated. From there, we then take the documents and train the staff of that department on how to make the document ADA compliant. So going toward the future, they're able to update the documents themselves, and then we could just submit it for approval to upload the web page and submit it. That's a pretty long process. Right now, we are about 58% done of all documents. However, we are only 15% of the total document page count. So we have over 4,000 pages that we actually have to go through. Our next thing that we had, we were awarded a cybersecurity grant. With that, we are updating critical systems within our public safety networks, adding fault tolerant systems to essential county systems, and investing in redundant internet backup solution for the county buildings. We're going to be doing that in phases, and we're going to be doing that through early 2027. The internet backup plan is pretty much where we're going to have a few providers start from, set for here at the courthouse. Eventually we're going to move it down to the new EOC down there. But for right now, we're going to beam the internet up to Phillips Knob, and then all of the county buildings within line of sight, we're going to have a link on those so we can have a failover backup internet. So we can, in the event of something like happened with Helene where we had mass loss of internet and other communications, we should be able to still help the population get the services they need while, keeping everything up and running. As long as we have power. At least we'll have internet. And that was everything I had in response.
Thank you, Matthew. We appreciate that. I appreciate the good work you're doing, by the way. Thank you.
I'll say one thing about Matthew and his team. They're a group of 3 now, and they do a really good job, during Helene, getting EOC up, with Starlinks out, getting everything organized, who could get on, who could not. And he's done a really good job about getting us a 5-year plan. We didn't have that with each department when they needed computers. It was one of those, if it's broke, we fix it. If it's not, that was a long way the way we used to do stuff. And now with our buildings and our IT and our vehicles and stuff, with his help and your help implementing it, and working with the department heads, it's come a long way. And now we're able to predict who needs what computer or service or server or new software or whatever. It really helps on our budget planning. So I appreciate the long hours he puts in, and his team too. They're doing an excellent job. So thank you, Matthew.
Yeah, appreciate it, Matthew. Thank you. Our next department head is Mr. David Davis. Is David here? Well, I've not seen him.
Nope.
All right. Is anybody here filling in for David with the cooperative extension? All right. All right, I guess we'll get him next month. All right, next on the agenda is Ms. Renee Tomlin from the Yancey County Humane Society, our director. Thank you, Renee.
You're welcome. So to start with, our biggest news of anything going on is that we're breaking ground Saturday at 4:30 for a low-cost spay neuter clinic. It's been hours for years, and it's finally coming true with a lot of help from donors and grant writing, and I'm sure we have donors in the audience. And fundraising, we have raised money, and we're breaking ground Saturday at 4:30. So if anybody wants to come, we're just gonna stick a shovel in the ground and have some champagne. So it will be for community members, low cost. It will be for the shelter animals, and we hope to service other area shelters like Mitchell, Madison. I've even had shelters as far away as Polk County say, if you build it, we will come. So hopefully it will be self-sufficient, maybe even make a little money, but the big thing is it will take care of the overpopulation problem, the backyard litters and all that. So that's our big news. Other than that, everything is pretty much the same. I don't have a lot of changes to report from the last time I talked to you guys. Helene, of course, was a challenge. Luckily, all of our animals were pulled to safety with the help of Bissell Pet Foundation and Shelter Dog Transport, because as you know, I'm sure David knows, living where we live, that we didn't have water till November 16th, I believe it was. And so we could not take any animals into the shelter. Well, we ended up taking animals in anyway. We can't say no, but we had very few until that time. But since then, we have filled back up completely as usual. The biggest thing for us right now is owner surrenders. You know, our contract with the county says we will take all the stray animals in the county. Owner surrenders, for whatever reason that they need to, give up their animals, we take as we can and as we have room. And the rest we put on a wait list. So our wait list is, just keeps getting longer, and especially for feral cat colonies, which are a real big issue in the county right now. We take them as we can. And it used to be that maybe 20 to 30% of our shelter population was owner surrenders, and now it's at least 50% and sometimes more. People lost their homes, people lost, their animals, a lot of people are just having to give them up. So we were able to partner with a lot of major organizations like Best Friends Animal Society, the ASPCA, to get some big grants and some money in after Helene. We basically functioned as a hub for the community. We gave away dog food and cat food and litter and dog houses and dog walks and everything that anybody needed, medicines, flea and tick stuff. Every single day during that time, we were out there, and every day another vehicle pulled in to our driveway from somewhere in the United States. And I'm talking Texas, Pennsylvania, Florida, Alabama, with just pet supplies. So every single day, we took it in and we gave it out. We even set up on the square for a while and gave it out. But that was mainly our function during that time. Last year, I was gonna do a lot of little statistics, and my internet was out today. Speaking of IT, it was out this morning. In the year 24, we took in 1,030 animals. And of those 1,030, 138 came directly from animal control, from Rhonda McMahon and the Sheriff's Department. The town of Burnsville was 101 animals, and 521 of those 1,000 were personal pet relinquishes. So for the year 25, we're pretty much, if you prorate and figure on out, we're running about the same. I estimate that we'll take in close to 1,000 again. So we, you know what we do. We take them in, we get them spayed and neutered, we get them vaccinated, we try our best to get them adopted. And we do transport quite a few up north through nationwide transport things. So, other than that, is there anything specific that I can answer?
Just a comment about what a tremendous job y'all done. Well, I mean, always, but I'm just saying, just, again, another organization, Yancey County, just stepped up and done a great job through this necessity that we have. So thank you.
You're welcome.
We appreciate everything that y'all do.
Thank you. Oh, we're getting out as a mess. We don't even want to talk about that right now.
I see them every morning line up.
Yeah, with the school construction, and that's a bit of a mess right there. But hopefully it won't be that much longer. And we need to widen the roads, but that's, I think, a complicated legal issue. But when we get that clinic built down there, it really needs to be widened. So,
Yeah, 2 months would be great.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. All right, next on the agenda is Mr. Danny McIntosh, our interim tax administrator. Tax refund releases, late applications as usual. And we will need some action on this. Good to see you, Danny. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for being here so I can come and talk to somebody. I've prepared 4 refund requests for y'all. Hope you have a chance to look at them and be happy to answer any questions you might have about them. I don't have any reservations about it. I'm thinking this process will be with us for some time. It just sort of is what it is.
Has everybody had an opportunity to look over these 4 and any questions for Danny? All right.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
We have a motion and a second. Did you get that now? Motion was from Sandy and then Mark was a second. All those in favor say aye. Hearing none opposed, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. I guess we'll see you after a while.
Thank you. Please hold your applause.
It's bad, Danny, when you got back for it, I'm telling you. Next, we've got the Yancey County Department of Social Services. We got a DSS appointment that we need to approve. Do I hear any nominations for this board appointment for DSS?
I'd like to nominate Bob Ayala.
Bob Ayala. Are any further nominations? We've only got 1 seat for this, so do we hear any other nominations? All right, hearing none. I hear a motion for Bob Ayala. Do I hear a second? And a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Hearing none opposed, motion carries. So thank you to Bob. Next, board appointment for the Yancey County Jury Commissioner. Also 1 appointment. This is a reappointment for Ms. Janice Buchanan. Do I hear any other nominees? Do I hear a motion to reappoint? We have a motion by Mark Ledford to reappoint and a second, David Grindstaff, for reappointment of Janice Buchanan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion carries. Thank you for that. All right, Yancey County fiscal year 2025-26 budget, the budget message. coming from Ms. Lynn Austin, our county manager.
So I've been asked to read all 55 pages. I'm getting a few dirty looks up here. I do.
That's it.
Just kidding, just kidding.
Hit the highlights.
I'm gonna give you the Cliff Notes version, because you guys already know. Then if the public would like a more detailed, budget, they can get it right here, or there'll be a version in our, after you guys approve tonight, there'll be a version in our office they can look at as well. So if you'll skip over to, page 3 there, the property appraisal numbers are currently at 3.4 billion, roughly. I won't read all those numbers. Property tax recommendation is still at 52 cents on the per 100 evaluation. Revenue in that line item would be $63,601 to the total budget fund, general fund. And if you notice, our budget is $37,084,332. So it's a portion of it, but it's not, it's definitely not all. And as we go through, our collection rate is currently at 98.48%, which puts us in range with our other counties of our size. In this budget, you know, the recommendation is to continue supporting, of course, our well-being of our health and well-being of our citizens. Budget supports the health department, EMS, community paramedic program. We support the PATH summer food program, also the senior center transportation, and the drug prevention program, to name a few. Public education in schools. The total allotment for this is $5,430,045. That includes the $30,000 for the teachers' checks still this year, and also the $30,000 to the supplemental checks for the non-certifieds. And we started that last year, so that went over well. They loved getting that and that appreciation, because they do put their money, some of their own money into the students in the school during the school year. So they really appreciated being included in that. So this includes that as well. Of course, they expect to get about $40,000 in timber sale money, and that depends on how Helene has hit, and that may affect that some. But as far as the Yancey County Commissioners have allotted the $3.6 million. $18,872 just for the school's general fund budget there. So any questions on that? We also provide the 7 SROs. They'll have 2 SROs now at the high school this year. That's something we have gradually implemented, you know, over the last 3 or 4 years. We always had some at the middle schools in different places, but this gets them in every school and 2 at the high school. So this should round it out, unless we have exponential growth or some new schools or something. This will round out the sheriff's allotment for the SRO program, unless the need arises and you guys recommend that. So Malin Community College, they asked for $451,236. Also, then capital project, that's in their operations cost. Also, capital projects was around $30,000. That's for any kind of upkeep on the Malin campus here in Yancey County. That's only on the Yancey campus. The solid waste, you know, that continues to be an ongoing thing, and don't we know it during Helene? It's not just solid waste, it's woody debris and that kind of thing. That in our budget, we have anticipated solid waste to be around $1,391,332. That's something that we all get, those little brown packages on our porch. That really hit high during COVID. Continues to be an issue with a lot of packaging and a lot of cardboard. We do recycle every bit we can, trying to get recycling, but recycling still comes at a cost most of the time. It might be $1,500 a month that we have to pay to recycle, but it still keeps it out of our landfills and makes a little bit more room and be recycled into other products. So, we do recycle, but a lot of times we don't get a surplus in that to go back into our solid waste program or recycling program. And I think there's a huge misconception on that, but it does serve a lot of other beneficial needs to practice recycling. So, the sheriff's office, this budget incorporates the sheriff's office budget being $2,495,470. The dispatch budget being $923,468. And the detention facility budget, the jail, $1,749,983. I'm sorry, $1,749,983. Then we have ground security budget of $857,472. And then of course we give, there's $10,000 on juvenile inmate confinement. The sheriff's budget is $6,036,393, which is approximately 16% of this budget. Department of Social Services, they're starting their Safe Babies Court system, and so they have successfully implemented that and will continue into this this next fiscal year. They're continuing to gain momentum into the 2025. They are hopefully going to stretch out into another facility that the county has. You know, we're looking forward to that, where we're not necessarily housing children in the DSS office from time to time. So we look forward to giving them some space there close to the county and a little free facility. So they continue to monitor the health and safety and well-being of our children and adults. The public library will be a new department this year. We're looking forward to that and continuing all the programs and activities. This year we've allocated $308,009 to the library with an offsetting revenue of $97,323 from the state of North Carolina. Our capital projects is still got a lot going on. We, of course, have built and completed and opened the new transportation building. We have the public safety and 911 center underway. She'll be complete in 2026. That was funded by the North Carolina State Appropriation Funds that came down. Senator Rice was a big part of us getting that, and I appreciate that. And also the 911 board plays a huge role in funding the dispatch center. Raycourt Park is in phase 2, is underway. If you go up there, you'll see the building being built. It's up on the ground. Part F has funded that 50%, and the county's local match was 50%. Kid Mountain construction was completed in May of this year. Park's now open. That also was a Part F, 50-50 grant match between us and them. Yancey County is currently working on our water and sewer infrastructure projects. We're partnering up with the town some on those. We have the funding from the North Carolina State Appropriations. Again, Senator Hice played a big role in that, and we appreciate that. But the Charlie Brown sewer extension is ready to roll. Pine Swamp wastewater treatment plant will be under contract soon, we're expecting. And the clean water wells that'll go in the back of the school at Blue Ridge should be ready to drill before long. Those all three have been out to bid, and those bids have been awarded, and was waiting on a little bit of stuff from DOT to get signed, and then we're ready to go. We got that last week, so hopefully all those will be underway. The old bank building here on the town square, we're looking forward to renovating that. We received bids on Friday, and we only got 2 bids instead of 3, so we'll be going back out to bid on that. If we don't have 3, we can't open. So we're working with Donnie and going to get that back out, and hopefully we'll get that done toward the end of the summer, into the fall, somewhere there. And then, of course, with Hurricane Helene, we have a lot on our plate, not just debris cleanup, but also getting our parks back open and stuff for our youth and our families and our adults. Just trying to see what property's out there, what we can do, if we can move something, if not, you know, getting the campground back going. We're in the planning phase on that, so we look forward to this summer being able to move forward on all that, so. We got a lot going on, and just in a little paragraph here, this budget that we present before you tonight offers many opportunities for continued growth within Yancey County. We take on the responsibility and strive to make Yancey County as fiscally sound as we can, all while keeping the best interest of our citizens at heart. This budget reaches the expectations set forth to accomplish these goals. Respectfully, and signed it. So that's our budget message.
All right.
For tonight, for this year.
For the commissioners, anybody, any comments, discussion, anything we want to talk about real quick? Yeah, I don't know where she done her math, but anyway.
That was the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah. Out of the 6.1. All right, next on the agenda is opening the floor, public hearing. Before we do the consideration and adoption of the fiscal year budget. So, do I hear a motion that we go into public hearing? I have a motion, do I hear a second? Second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All right, any comments from the floor? Any public comments for, concerning this budget? Yeah.
What is the difference between the 24-25 budget and the 25-26?
As far as the total, from 37 this year to last year was 32 or 33?
I'll get that for you.
Get right back to you. So hold that thought. I saw another, yes ma'am.
I believe when we last talked about the draft of the budget, of course I'm paying more attention to the library section of it, it was about 80K above what was initially drafted, and now I see that's closer to 90. Do you have, I haven't seen the budget itself, do you have any breakdown of where that came from?
Well, I mean, we just, whenever you saw it, then it was an active, evolving document, and we've just had several more conversations about several different things, and you can definitely get the budget and go over it and look at it and see. I don't know exactly where those parameters were, or what you're discussing. I don't know, but we talked, that was one of the things that we talked about from the very beginning.
It's just the number I remember from the draft that we saw last.
But that's why it was a draft. This is the final. So there's definitely gonna be differences between the drafts.
Of course.
All 3 or 4 of them to this point.
Of course, I'm just interested since that number has continued to increase each draft that we've seen.
And you can speak to that if you want to, if we've got that.
Is that the overall draft you're talking about?
Yeah, is it the overall draft or just on the library section?
Just on the
Just on
library
the library section. If you will look at the 308. So you got
Yes, it was
308,009, and then you do the offset of the state's revenue, which is 97, you subtract that. What number did you see?
If I take that 97 from 308, then I get 211 that the county is contributing.
Mhm.
And if I take that away the, I think it was 120 that was initially estimated, then that's 91 up from that first estimate versus the last time I saw a draft, it was roughly 80 up from that first estimate.
And it's in the departments itself.
Yeah.
It would either be, I don't know if it'd be capital for equipment.
Well,
or
if we get new quotes in, if we were waiting on quotes, we guesstimate it to be what it is. And then when we get actuals in the last month or whatever, or 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever, since the last draft, we'll adjust it accordingly.
All right.
So we try to get it before we adopt it. We try to get it just as close as we can. And things change. We get another month of revenue in, like so some things will change on the revenue side as far as the county budget goes, but as far as the library budget goes, some things, if we got a new quote or if we got something additional, that new information, we would put it in there.
All right. Did you say you had spare copies up there?
We did, yeah.
I'd love to come get one.
Did we get an answer for Kathy on the 20?
Yep, Randy got it. We did have a budget up here, and somebody took our whole budget, so, maybe it's being passed around. But the 2024-25 revised budget, was $40,139,657, and this includes some FEMA reimbursement in this. And anticipated that we have, estimated, for this year is $37,084,332.
And did you have to cut some departments, or is it because you got more money because of the?
Well, we get more money, well, no, we didn't cut any departments.
There's nothing cut.
No.
That right there is a little misleading because of all the FEMA reimbursements. It's gonna increase the budget quite a bit.
Yeah.
And that was almost, if I'm not mistaken, I might be talking out of the side of my neck, that was almost $6 million.
And then you gotta remember too, Kathy, that during last year and this year, the Board of E&R's been really active on cutting stuff. And so we have to take into account that we may not get all the revenues that we got last year too. So we're real conservative on those estimates as far as tax dollars. Because that's been an evolving thing every time they meet. And their last meeting was last Wednesday.
The appeals, I mean, there was a ton, I don't know the exact number, Danny may know that, but every bit of that we had budgeted last year has got to come off, in our applicable taxes, and that's a huge number, and the problem with that is, we don't know what that number is until it's done. So then they have to be calculated, they have to be adjusted, and they have to be applied. So it's a complicated process. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Jackie Moss. In the philosophical context that Lynn read, the paragraph at the end, it mentioned fiscal responsibility, and I'd like to understand the disconnect between the commitment to fiscal responsibility and the decision to remove yourself from the Amy consortium, which was less money for more services than what you currently have included in the budget. There's a disconnect.
Yeah, and there's a difference of opinion, and when we look back next year or the year after, we can certainly see those avenues of disagreement. So we'll talk about that later. That's just philosophical. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Tina Prince. So am I to understand that the increase of 91,000 is tied to the library being dissolved away from the Amy system, becoming independent? Is that correct?
And 91,000?
Oh, it's the revenue, yeah. We get those state funds out too.
You talking about the $97,000 revenues that come from the state?
No, the 91,000 Ingrid that you were discussing, the increase?
She was talking about a 5,000, is that what you said? Didn't you say it was 85? And
It was that 91,000 versus the initial estimate that we heard at the very beginning of the year.
She's talking about on the draft budget. She's hung up on the draft budget.
She's just talking about like
Not the final
a
budget.
$5,000 or $6,000 bill.
I'm not sure I have an answer yet. There's an increase of $91,000 in expenses, operating expenses. So what does that go towards?
Well, in operating expenses overall.
No, she's talking about just for the library.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the library, we hired 3 on-staff librarians all the time, full-time. Where before we didn't have necessarily that at all times. And then 2, we usually put forth 100, usually 130 is what the ask was, I believe, last year was 130, 140, something like that. We cut it down to 100 because we knew we were going to be out. And so that match from the state was around 97, and it don't show that in our AMY budget, but it shows that here. We have that as an offsetting revenue, because we will be getting in the money from the state to apply toward our funds. And you're still saying there's a difference between the money we're getting in and the money we're putting out, but we have hired an additional librarian, and we chose to do so.
At 91,000?
No, but you gotta pay FICA, Medicare, health insurance. It takes quite a bit.
I understand.
Yeah.
So that's,
And then you gotta remember too, that this budget this year is a working budget. If we don't need as much, it gives us our first year under our belt. we need more. If we don't, we can adjust it throughout the year.
Right, I'm just trying to get a direct answer. Is that for the additional hire then?
So
And I understand ancillary
we
costs
have 3
related to hiring.
librarians instead of 2 full-time librarians, and I know that's still like the director, and there's a children's librarian that came once a week or twice a week, or however that works. But we've put in there what we think we need to operate this year and continue services and maybe buy IT equipment. We really have some things that we're not unsure about because we've not been in the library. And we've got some cameras to replace. We have added in some funds to make sure that we're getting it up to par.
Right, we're wanting to budget it more than it actually will, so we won't have to go back and take it out of some other department to increase it to make sure. If it only costs $268,000 to operate it next year, that's what the budget is. But this year, we've got it down for 308, and we've added employees.
And what, these right, Jeff's right, what does it go in? It'll stay right there and we'll scrape it in our general fund. I mean, if we don't spend it unless we need it.
You do know last year's budget was $397,000 between what you spent and what the regional department spent. Are you willing to make that up?
If necessary.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
I think the clarifying point, if you took that 308,000, subtract out, because either Amy or the county got the 97,000. And then you just look at what the county is spending only, that's where that $91,000 figure over last year is what they were saying. Not the draft of that estimated 120 of the year.
And we may have overshot it a little bit, but maybe not. So
It may be high.
working budget.
It may be high, and it may not. It may be low, but we'll fix that. We'll get that. We're budgeting everything on, the information that is good information to, the way we plan on working. Yes, sir?
Yeah, it's my understanding that the reason that, materials in the library are not going back to the ANY system, the ANY system is due to the largesse of the other 2 counties, not has nothing to do with.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
My understanding is that the reason you're keeping materials in the library as opposed to them going back to the ANY system, who owns that material, is due to the largesse of the other 2 counties saying that they didn't want our library to lose them. And it has nothing to do with what the commissioners did. It has to do with the support from the other 2 counties. Otherwise, if that hadn't happened, we have pretty much an empty library. Is that correct?
No. Lynn and Donnie can answer that question better because they were at the meeting with all those people involved, Amber and all the attorneys. The materials are given to each library for each county. It's not the systems. It's not the systems material. And that's according to the attorneys on all 4 entities. Spruce Pines, Mitchell, Avery, Yancey, yeah, and that's it. So those they can better answer that question for you because they were at the meeting.
Yeah, so when we attended the meeting, we had all the county managers, the town manager, and the county attorneys there with us. And they represented us, and the AMY board because our commissioners, appoint people to those boards. They serve on behalf of Yancey County. Avery County does the same thing as Mitchell County and the town of Spruce Pine. We're the ones that put forth the funds, and the other counties in the town, to make up the AMY fund. So I know you guys do get donations. Each county is separate in their donations. I think that Amber told us how much each county had in their, I don't know what kind of fund, general fund or whatever you want to call it. But the counties, by putting in 100, 130, whatever they put in, over 30 years, they have, and I know sometimes the state money is bought with asset stuff too, books and that kind of thing, but they allot it based on county, based on population or however that formula goes. And by us being in the I mean, they don't just give it because of AMY, they give it because of Yancey, Mitchell, Avery. Yeah. That's how it's divided out.
There were 4 separate accounts one for Avery, one for Mitchell, one for Yancey, and one for Spruce Pine. 4 separate accounts with 4 different account balances in each account for that particular issuance of funds for what they have put in. And that was the same with the materials.
Who owns the materials in the library right now?
Yancey County,
Yancey County?
yes.
And how is that handled with the rest of the regional library?
Well, I think they agree that every county, now I don't know about the regional library board, but with the counties that fund the library, they, and their attorneys, they all agreed that what was in those libraries was property of the library.
And when did you find that out?
I'd have to look that up. When did we meet, Don? In February, January? Back in January.
This has been going on for over a year.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, it was stated that if we left the regional system, most of the materials in that library belonged to the system. And you didn't change, you didn't dissuade the different, you didn't have a different opinion about it.
Well, January we did.
We didn't say that. We
You
didn't say
it, but you didn't not say it.
Well, we have,
There's a lot of things that we
We
don't say.
assumed that was
Right.
we assumed that information was correct. You did not correct it, so it stood as the.
Right, and you also assume that we're gonna close the library, which is not gonna happen either. So, I mean, assumptions can go a lot of different ways.
My point is, you left us hanging. There's a serious transparency problem with you guys. I'm sorry. I know you work hard. I know it's a hard job. But the lack of transparency is incredibly frustrating us. We don't get any feedback. There's closed meetings. We don't find out things until the month before you guys get out of the library. And we have no recourse or way to express ourselves. Just like that new project, the Paradigm Project, I asked you when there was going to be public input, and this is what you told me. We already had it. And I said, when was that? And he said, when you put us back in office. That's not the answer to that question.
Well, we don't make up the whole library system,
Correct.
so we can't speak for everybody when you ask us questions on the
When
library.
you were
We
trying
have
to
to
get-
meet,
When you were
and
trying to
everybody
get
was
out
one
of
of
the system,
four, so we can't speak for Amy without the other constituents.
when you were trying to get out of the system, did you not investigate how many of those materials would be in there, and how many weren't, and who would pay for it? Or did you just find out a month ago?
Well, it was a working conversation with the other counties. I mean, we can't speak for all 4 just because we want to do something. We were part of a district.
You do understand that there should be public input, and you should know what your constituents are going to feel about it, other than that 1 year or every 2 years, right? Because you don't seem interested in it.
All right, let me tell you what we're fixing.
Our issues are.
Let me tell you what we're fixing to do here in the legal standpoint from our legal counsel. And he's correct. And I should have stated this beforehand, and I thought I would, but this, public hearing that we're in is based upon the budget, and it's all aspects of the budget. And I realize that we're hung up on this one particular point. So what we're gonna do, if there's another public comment, we're gonna get you to come to the podium, and you've got 3 minutes to speak. And we will take your comments, we will listen to what you've got to say, and if there's a response, we will give it. But we're not gonna get hung up here until, sometime tomorrow, talking about this one particular issue, that has already been settled. And we have been transparent, we've done everything legally, and we've done everything. And listen, I'm sorry that we have a difference of opinion. I apologize for that. But this is the way that the general statute states it, this is the way that we've done it, and this is the way that we're gonna continue. So if anybody's got, from now on, you've got a public comment, we're gonna get you to come up here, you got 3 minutes, and we'll have that dialogue. Yes, ma'am, come on up to the podium.
Oh, I can speak from back here. In the budget, you had mentioned that there was funds that are gonna be spent on the playgrounds and the campground and other facilities in the county. You didn't say how much, if it's part of the budget, how much is being spent on those repairs?
Well, Dick, one thing about that particular issue is we're still waiting on FEMA, state and federal agencies to be able to refund our money, so there's still a whole lot of gray area about our recreation,
So give me a
department.
number of how much has been spent so far by the county.
We've not spent anything so far by the county. We've not got any money from the state and the federal agencies yet.
And how much you asking for?
We're not, how much we are asking for?
How much are you asking for that particular part of the budget?
For the Parks and Rec?
Parks and Rec.
Well,
go ahead,
Parks
man.
and Rec, we haven't spent anything yet because we haven't started work on it, on the campground we have just hired an engineer, they're on staff. They're trying to.
And what's
work
their
through
estimate?
They're working through a rapid project, and the estimate that they have gave us to start on it, now it won't be the whole thing for South Toe, 1.3.
For South Toe,
Mhm.
for the campground?
But it'll take more than that.
And
Way
what
more
about-
than that.
And what about the, Cane River?
Cane River Park, we haven't started on that as either.
What's the
We've got an
estimate?
engineer.
What's the estimate?
The rapid project estimate's around 2.4.
2.4 million?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the rapid estimate.
Yeah.
It's gonna be way more than that.
FEMA's slow.
And the wheels of the bureaucracy turn.
So you have nothing in the budget, you're saying there's about $4 million, and you're saying that's not even close to enough, and you have nothing in our budget,
No, FEMA will increase that as we go along and we get our engineer's estimates.
That's
how it
a
goes.
reimbursement part of the budget, Dick. I mean, that's an evolving thing. So we're still at the
Boy, if I
mercy.
went to one of my clients and said, oh, this is a evolving thing, and so I can't give you an estimate. They
Well, let me
walk
ask you
away,
something.
they walk away.
Well, let me ask you something. Do you do cost plus?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, there you go. Then there you go.
So you're saying that
And it's
the
not-
county is run on cost plus?
No,
Yeah.
no. All right,
Making a profit on it.
I'm done.
Yeah.
all right, got it. Next, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, hi, I'm happy to come up if you want, but I have a sprained ankle,
That's
so it'll
fine.
take me a
Go
while,
ahead.
so I'll just stand here if that's all right. I wanted to ask a follow-up question to,
All right, stop. Yep.
okay,
Legal counsel says come on.
I'm coming. Sorry, I'm slow right now. No, I'm okay, thank you, I'm just a little slow. Hi.
All right, you got 3 minutes, go ahead.
Sure, yeah, I just wanted to ask a follow-up question to what Jackie had been asking about earlier, because I wasn't quite sure I understood the response, and I want to make sure that I fully understand. So the question was about, I know that.
Excuse me, this is not a question and answer session. This is an opportunity for you to make a public comment on the budget that has been presented. No questions will be asked. There will be no interaction between the commissioners and the person speaking. That is what public comment is. It's not an opportunity to ask a question.
Well, I was going off of his, as previously said, you're welcome to ask a question. If we have the answer, we'll give it. So I'll make a statement, and if you respond to it, that would be great. So the question was about, I know there's been some back and forth about this $80K, so it sounds like, that's the difference between what was contributed by the county last year versus this coming year after the state funds are taken into account. So, whether that $80K ends up being too much or too little, I know is still to be seen, but either way, it's a significant increase over last year, tens of thousands of dollars. And the question was about, knowing that our commitment is to fiscal responsibility, what is the motivating force behind voluntarily having that increase in contribution? I know that there is an additional staff member, but I think a lot of people in the community feel that the library was appropriately staffed already, and there were no complaints about staffing. So I would like to understand, and I think the community would like to understand more about what was the animating force behind the decision to voluntarily adopt this new system that will require tens of thousands more in contributions from the county.
Like we said, we're gonna aim high, and hopefully we'll shoot low.
And can you say anything about what's motivating this decision?
What's motivating the decision for the budget to be $308,000?
To adopt this new system that will end up costing the county significantly more.
Yep. Yeah, we're just gonna govern the library.
It's philosophical.
And can you say that's more than
We're gonna govern the library.
Philosophical.
what does that mean to govern the library?
But we're gonna make sure that the library is run just the way that the county wants it run.
Okay.
In the interest of all the people.
You represent us, not the other way around.
All right.
Well said.
Yes, ma'am, in the back, come on up.
I've been hearing about the budget.
I was actually at the final Amy Regional Library meeting last week, the final ever, since y'all were pulling Yancey out of the system. And my understanding was also that, I was kind of relieved when you said, if y'all have any questions about the budget, you can ask, and people were interacting, and thank you for that. I was actually hopeful. But then that was kind of squashed when you said, not this one particular issue, like it's something trite. A lot of us really care about the library, really care a lot. So since I was at that meeting and nobody from the Yancey Library Board was there, and y'all seemed kind of confused about potential costs, from my understanding was everything's going to stay at the Yancey Library, most everything except for the large print books. So that's going to be really important for older people. Sometimes I have a disability, I have trouble with my vision, so I check out large print books. So you have till June 30th, that's kind of a priority. You need to stock up on those. So I just wanted to clarify that. That was a question about the budget.
Thank you.
My name is Jada Cash.
All right, any more comments? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Barbara Probst, and I have a question about how the budget relates to what's going on with the Amy library procedures. And I understand there's a strong feeling that people here want to eliminate some of the services that are now offered through the library. And so what I wanted to know was, is that what this is about? Is it money? No. Can you tell me what it is about?
Yeah, as I've said, the Yancey County Library is going to be run by Yancey County.
So I'm part of Yancey County.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, you are.
And so therefore, I think I have a right to come to a public meeting and ask a question. This is what public meetings are for.
And that's what we're doing.
I beg to differ from you, sir. You're not consulting with the public at all if you're not interacting with them. That's the whole point of this, is to consult with the public.
Yes, ma'am.
And answer their emails.
So what's the problem then?
And what's your question?
Budget.
Budget. I wanted to know how much of that was part of the question about the libraries.
How much budget is the library budget?
No, I mean, is any of the reduction or any of the budget, because is that part of why people are wanting to do away with services at the library?
We're not, yeah. And we're not doing away with services at the library.
Beg pardon?
And we're not doing away with services at the library.
You're not doing any services?
We're not doing away with any services, have you quoted, we're not doing away with any services at the library.
So you're not thinking about reducing when the hours when children can come in without their parents?
No.
The answer is no?
We'll address the policies here in a little bit.
Okay, so I'll get another chance to talk to you about that. Okay, very good, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. motion to come out of the public hearing? Have a motion, do I hear a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Consideration and adoption of this budget as it has been presented to this board. Do I hear a motion? Have a motion, do I hear a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Hearing none opposed, motion carried. Budget is adopted for the fiscal year 25-26. Next on the agenda is our county manager's report. Speaking about a few different things here.
Okay, so, the first one on there is the library policy. We realize this is a draft here, so anything, if you guys see me need to change anything, Whitney's been working tirelessly trying to get us some, everything up to par there and get us ready to go for July 1st. So just want to discuss these policies. Pretty general, pretty broad. Let me know if you have had any problems. I know you guys have looked over those. Need to make any changes, we'll be willing to do all that and get it back to you. So, open for discussion on those.
She's making some changes in regards to the age and all that kind of stuff, right?
She has heard some, folks say that they would like for the age to be lower, and took that into consideration. If you guys are willing to, she's willing to. I know that we had some discussion earlier, that we was talking that sometimes the kids come to the pool at a younger age by themselves. So, she has took that into consideration and make it, age 13. Change that to 13.
Yeah, our policy needs to be the same.
Right, try to make it.
If it's in one department, it needs to be the same in all departments. If it's 13 at the pool, it needs to be 13 at the library, whatever. Whatever the department is. So we need to be like.
That's unsupervised.
Yeah, that's unsupervised.
You know, dropping them off and going.
School background, I feel like I have a lot of concern for safety. So if they're a minor, I want them to be safe in the library, but I hear your concern.
She said you couldn't hear her, has an elementary school background. That's the teacher coming out in her, a little bit of concerns just for people's safety and being of age and things, so she was just being a little bit cautious there. But, understood and heard you guys, commissioners took it into consideration, so. Everything else okay with you? Everything else look good with that change of 13?
Yeah, that's what we need to be in a lot of the
And so any volunteer have background checks, that kind of thing, just like we do with our Meals on Wheels. 4-H has to go through a process, any kind of volunteers, leaders there, so it'll be the same for a volunteer.
So 18 to 13 unsupervised.
Right.
Background check. Any more discussion? Well, it needs to be correct. All right, so, we want to table this to make a motion on it, or we're just gonna continue to work on it?
If you wanna make a motion on it based on that age being reduced to 13, then we'll make that change and put that into place.
That's at the pleasure of the board. We have a motion. Do I hear a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Hearing none opposed.
Whitney's got that noted, so, that will happen. We got a new staff member introduction for Congressman, Chuck Edwards' office. And so, Connor Brown, if you wanna come up and introduce yourself, he has taken Tommy Lauder's place. We welcome him aboard, look forward to working with him on the days and months and years to come.
Welcome, Connor. Thanks for coming.
Good afternoon. For those of you all that know Tommy and have not heard the news, he was met by somebody that realized how talented he was and offered him a great job. Our office is sad to see him go, but very, very excited for him moving forward. My name is Connor Brown. I will be taking on the role as Constituent Services Liaison for Congressman Edwards. here in Yancey County, and I will be assuming all of Tommy Lauder's role. I'm really glad to be here today. I grew up in Weaverville, born and raised, so this isn't too far over the mountain. Love this area of Western North Carolina. I'm excited to work here with y'all. I do want to let everyone know that our office's commitment is to serve the community of Yancey County, especially with all that's going on with Helene. And I want to let everyone know some resources that are available for you guys. On the casework of things for individual citizens here in Yancey County, we have a great casework team that is looking to help people with federal agency contacts. That can include anything from IRS, Social Security Agency, and obviously most prominently right now, FEMA. So if any of your constituents are having issues with federal agencies, we have a team of caseworkers that are ready to go and help them with that. I also want to let you know that Congressman Edwards is advocating for you guys on the national level. He works for the Appropriations Committee along with the Budget Committee, and he is using his role in those committees to advocate for Yancey County along with Western North Carolina as a whole. He also played a significant role in the disaster supplemental, which is bringing billions of dollars to the district. We really want to see those funds be used to help Yancey County specifically. Lastly, our door is always open. I'd ask you to please visit our website, which is edwards.house.gov, to stay in touch with us and to get to know our office a little bit better and get updated on what's going on. Please subscribe to our newsletter. That's how you can figure out the events that we're going to be at. And along with that, look out for the Carolina Cruiser coming to Yancey County soon, which will give your constituents an opportunity to be able to come and interact with us one-on-one. I yield. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate you. Thanks for being part of this.
I have one more item I want to cover. We've been kind of dragging this on, but where the TDA is real active still. After Helene, they took a little while to get pumped up and going, and which way do we go as far as, hiking and all that good stuff, and a lot of people come for the tourist part, the fishing and that kind of thing. So we're back in order there on our meetings. Jake Blood has said that he would like to step down from the president. We put him in as chairman or whatever of that board. So Sue Frost has been willing. I know we've put in a few other folks there. I can't remember his name, but the fellow from the Carolina Inn. Yes, he's there now, and we've got a few more that you guys have put in. But Sue would like to be, and the board would like for Sue to move into that chairperson role. If you guys, she wanted you to approve that and get that on the books. We were kind of thinking we could do that as a board, but we want your consent, and she would like that too as an approval. And Sue runs the Terrell House. Very involved, very active, very in touch with the chamber and the community.
I have no problem.
Yeah.
Sue's stepping in that role. And she's been involved for a while.
She has. She's been on the board for quite a while.
Exactly. So she's like I said, she's been at.
So if we get a motion on that, we'll.
Okay. Motion to hear second. 2 seconds, Madam Clerk, take a hit. All those in favor say aye. Hearing none opposed, motion carries.
That's all I have for you, Mr.
All right,
Chairman.
thank you very much. County Commissioners report is next. Anybody have anything for the County Commissioners' side? All right. County Attorney's report, Mr. Law, you have anything for us tonight?
Nothing from me, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Next is our public comment section. And as always, we've got several public speakers here. Our policy is no more than 3 speakers on the same subject. We do have several speaking on the same subject. I realize that it's touchy and we disagree, but I'm going to allow everybody to speak under one condition. It gets out of hand, we're going to cut it off. You get 3 minutes, and I want everybody, please, as I ask every month, please be respectful of each other's time and the time that you are allotted, and please respect comments whether you agree or disagree. So with that being said, and we will cut it off if it gets out of hand. First speaker tonight, got 3 minutes, is Miss Jackie Moss. Thanks for coming, Jackie, as usual.
Absolutely. I have a broken foot, so I'm also popping up.
No problem.
All right, and.
Your time don't start till you start speaking.
Just want to be clear, I know I am just a warm-up band that the main event has yet to come, and I just want to say thank you so much for everything you've done for me and my family. My great Aunt Ruby was a wise Catawba County farmer's wife. I have memories of this tiny, persistent, white-haired woman shake loose and catch the pecans by gently ramming her rusty old pickup truck backwards into the trees. She taught me that I could catch more flies with honey than vinegar. And well, Ruby, I tried. Unfortunately, honey, logic, compassion, even a hurricane has not moved the hearts or minds of this board to question their headlong rush into a fiscally irresponsible effort to grab control of our library, trying to turn Yancey into an island free of encumbrances with other mountain counties. Helene has been a painful lesson, but we have learned that these encumbrances are actually relationships. They have made for an effective, sustained emergency response, and that they represent our only hope for a full recovery. Collaborative relationships with our neighboring counties, our governments, and organizations such as Amy make us stronger, make us richer in every sense of the word, and that make us better able to overcome obstacles that people and nature place in our path. No one, and certainly no county, can thrive as an island. Islands aren't powerful, they're vulnerable. Now time for a little bit of that vinegar. I am angry that you have aligned my community with homophobic, hate-spewing zealots. Angry that you are hell-bent on wasting our tax money. Angry that you are adding our library and its excellent staff to the piles of debris that dot our landscape. Angry that elected leaders choose to act dishonorably and fail to uphold their oath to serve the common good. Angry that you use undemocratic methods to push a culture war ideology while ignoring the opinions of actual library users. You may think you're winning a battle in some contrived war between Americans. If you leave us with a mediocre library serving only straight, white, conservative, evangelical Christians instead of everyone who lives in this county. But history's arc is long, and it actually bends towards justice, and I believe in the future that our library will recover from this shameful decision and again commit to serve all of us equally. For now, you have promoted a MAGA agenda. Make America guilty again, guilty of treating others as less equal and less human than yourselves. When my Aunt Ruby sent us out to play on long summer days, she would say, "Do unto others." And we understood what she meant. Some of you may have forgotten the meaning of those 3 words. Is this the legacy you imagined when you decided to run for office?
3 minutes, Jackie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. White Edwards, speaking on the Amy Library. Good evening, White. Thanks for coming.
Finally get to speak. There have been a lot of things that have bothered me over the last 2 years during this unnecessary library withdrawal process. Not the least of which has been numerous occasions on which I've been called a pedophile, a groomer, pornographer. That hurt. But what was worse was that you knew it. You never once defended the library or its librarians. You didn't care. You claim to have the best interests of the people of this county at heart. But when you appointed new people to the library board, they needed a tour of the library because they had no idea what was in it. Instead of a learning opportunity, they used that tour as a gotcha moment to find fault and harass and insult us. Not the people you appointed if you actually cared. Most recently, your new library director suggested to our gallery manager we should feature local artists' work, apparently unaware that we feature almost exclusively local artists, including work by school children from the area. But you wouldn't know that. You know why? You don't use the library. You don't care. Hundreds of people have repeatedly marched in support of this library and gathered with signs and chants and songs on the square. They've spoken repeatedly and passionately at these meetings. You don't care. People begged you to stop this withdrawal after Helene put the money into the recovery. You don't care. That's the horrible, insidious thing that hits me hardest here. You don't care. But I care. I care that the elderly widow who loves Amish romance novels and cozy mysteries has a new book to read. I care that the child who just discovered a love for insects has all the info he wants from praying mantises. I care that the woman who developed agoraphobia during the COVID lockdown found our library a safe enough space to visit, and that helped her get back out into the world. I care that the teen who's confused about a gender identity finds a book with a character that feels the same and he doesn't feel alone. I care that the little boy with Down syndrome who gets his therapy at the library won't start his session without a hug from me. I care that a woman who lost her father turned to reading humorous novels to deal with her grief and rediscovered a passion for reading that helped her cope. I care about the thousands and thousands of people we've helped after Helene to find resources, fill out forms, send paperwork to agencies, and mostly just by listening to their stories. I've never once asked someone who walked through those library doors who they voted for, who they prayed to, or who they have at home that they love. Every patron interaction starts with a simple question. How can I help you today? And so if you ask that question every time you greet a constituent, this would be a better place. But it's not a question you'll ask, because you just don't care.
All right, next speaker is Molly Seacrest. Got 3 minutes, Molly. Thanks for coming.
My name is Molly Seacrest. I first came to Yancey County in 1970. I'm addressing the county commissioners about family in Yancey County, specifically my mother. Y'all can listen in. Why should you listen to me? I'm a stakeholder. I'm also a taxpayer. My family is paying taxes on 3 properties here. The landslide took one of them. My kids are out of luck. But what did they do? They donated a lot of money and time to raising funds for Helene recovery. That's who they are. My mother helped in their raising, and that's why you should listen to me. When my mother moved to South Carolina with her husband and kids, she was the second qualified librarian in the entire state. She was a school librarian. My first job was there. I was 6 years old. She made me 50 cents an hour. Before that, her very first job was at a small town public library. She answered to a board of directors. She would not have tolerated interference from them on how to perform her work. Real libraries respect their communities and they leave no one out. Pretend libraries restrict materials and programs. My mother was a bit on the conservative side, but she knew her job was to find books for everyone in her town. She had a library card for this Amy Regional Library for 40 years. I go there just about every week. It has been a real library. No need to change it. I close with an anecdote. When my parents moved to South Carolina from North Carolina, there was a so-called public library in that town. This pretend public library was forbidden to black people. I'll say that again. This pretend public library was forbidden to black people. My mother would not allow my brothers and me to cross the threshold of that building until all people were allowed to enter. Can you imagine a librarian not allowing her kids into the local library? It broke her heart. We moved out of town before that pretend public library was racially integrated, so I never did get to go into it. What a powerful lesson that was. Libraries are for everyone. If this withdrawal from the Amy Regional Library goes through, you will not bar the door to any people, but How welcoming will it be? This smaller, restricted library, will it serve the whole community? Will you welcome those people whose first language is not English? Will you welcome children, teens, and adults who look different in some way, act different, dress differently?
Thank you, ma'am.
Will it be a real library or a pretend one? You can reverse this decision. It's not too late.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for coming, guys. We've got 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Guy Bernico, and I'm genuinely grateful to be living in Burnsville among you. My partner Greta and I were really delighted when we found we could live in a townhouse. We could afford to buy it and make this our home. And as grateful as I was completely disappointed when I learned shortly after that the library was being threatened with dismemberment, so to speak, and that something that was essentially important to me in my life was going to be diminished, if not removed entirely. My background is as an intellectual. I've got an interdisciplinary PhD in the humanities. I taught in universities since the verse is the People's Republic of China, or Bethel, Alaska, on the Yukon, on the Kuskokwim River in Bush, Alaska. My experience personally, and certainly among the people I've worked with of different backgrounds, religions, cultures, flavors, genders, etc., is that nothing offers the wealth of the ecology of heart and mind of different kinds of cultural and personal and human understandings as a library. A library in itself, and a library that shares with other libraries and making available to all who need, who call, or who discover a hunger they didn't know existed to begin with, for valuable kinds of insight and lore and opportunities for discussion that would never have happened to them in a vacuum, and not even with a library that was a vacuum, so to speak, separated from other libraries that would share resources. And remember, not just books, but foremost. And ultimately, ideas, dialogue, opportunities for exchange. Now, I don't know where I am on the clock, but I just needed to make this personal affirmation that a library that's generous in itself and in its connection with other libraries is a gift to us as rare as any that this planet has yet created.
Our next speaker is James Sparks. Thanks for coming, Jan.
You didn't get what I was speaking on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jan Sparks, questions need answers.
Okay. Thank you all for answering my first question to start with. There seems to be lots of questions out there that need answers, and misinformation that needs to be clarified. So my first question is, how does somebody get an answer from the commissioners? I know from personal experience, you don't reply to text, you don't reply to emails, you don't reply to phone calls, and even registered letters, you don't reply. So, at some point, maybe you can answer how to get our questions answered.
Here, here.
Although the complete reason for withdrawing from the Yancey County Library, from the AMI regional library system, has not actually really ever been confirmed or discussed by the commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
The timing of the 2023 Pride display and the complaints, mostly from one individual, maybe a few others, have led to most people assuming that it's all related. Is that true? When you appointed new members to the library board, it was my understanding that what the process was, the recommendations came from the regional librarian, and you all signed off on them if you agreed. However, when you took control of the board, You appointed all of your own people plus commissioners. It's also my understanding that commissioners were prohibited from serving on the board due to potential conflict of interest. And Jeff, when you appointed yourself to the board, why were you removed after lack of attendance? You know, if you're going to be on the board, and in order to speak for all of them, or other concerns also. If nothing changes, the county will be taking over complete funding for the library on July 1. It was initially talked that there were hopefully some grants that could be applied for to help this funding. I'm curious, how many grants have you applied for? Have you received any additional funding? Are there grants that you applied for that were canceled by Donald Trump's executive order 14238? And are you expecting any additional funding to come in? I also have a question about the health department. How have services improved in the health department since you took them out of the Toll River District? Has it been cheaper to operate the health department? Have they been provided updated training on responding to natural disasters and sufficient funding to do so? Might have really been helpful during Helene. Also, Helene, is it true that recently, as reported in a ProPublica article, which is all over the internet, that the emergency manager coordinator didn't make a recommendation for evacuation orders because the county was fresh off a culture war battle over a pride display at the library? He didn't think the chair would go for the evacuation orders?
Thank you. All right, our next speaker is Jeremy Boyd Bull, or is it Jeannie Boyd Bull?
Jenny Boyd Bull.
Okay, thank you. And she's also speaking on thank you. You got 3 minutes, thank you.
I've been coming to these commission meetings for over a year now, and I just want to thank you for all the work that you do, especially thank you. And I've learned a lot about many of our agencies and all that they're doing in your support. So I want to begin with that. I also want to say that I want to focus right now on thanking the Yancey County librarians, their staff, and the Amy librarians. Since their times as manager and librarian at Yancey County Library are currently ending on June 30th, I want to personally thank Wayne Edwards, librarian, librarians, for their years of faithful and loving service at Yancey Public Library in the Amy Regional Library System, and Amber Westall Briggs, Regional Director. Strong support and leadership, especially over the past few years. In my mind, it's tragic that she has resigned. They all have received numerous complaints and unfounded accusations from Yancey citizens and beyond, and borne it all with grace and resilience. As a retired librarian, one of my first stops when I moved to Yancey 10 years ago was to visit the library, get my Amy card, check out books, and sign up for the monthly reading group at the library. I've been visiting the library weekly ever since, attending a multitude of diverse gatherings in the meeting room, both after hours and during library hours, and curled up on the sofa in the cozy corner upstairs in the stacks each month to participate in vibrant discussions of a wide variety of fiction and non-fiction books we recommend. Last month we discussed Lisa C's Lady Anne and the Circle of Women, historical fiction about the first women doctors in ancient China. We were horrified by the foot binding and confinement of upper-class women. Wayne has facilitated these discussions with skill and enthusiasm, and I value his expertise and openness to all opinions, freely sharing his own. There's also the monthly Ales and Tales group at Home Place he leads here in town, along with administering numerous other programs for children and adults in the library, including text skills with Jennifer Sword, who is a Yancey County resident and now the new regional library director, all of which serve to create community and inform us folks here in Yancey. The sign I've been carrying for library rallies for the past 2 years is kind of worse for the wear. It reads, "Libraries build community." It seems to me that your decision to withdraw from the Amy Regional Library has done just the opposite. It's created division in our community.
Wait a minute, Ms. Ward.
Which also reflects
Ms. Ward,
divisions in
wait a
our
minute.
council.
Thank
I
you.
treat you to be open to all people to live here.
Thank you. Next speaker is Jody Casher, speaking about post-lane priorities. Thanks for coming, Jody.
I have lived in the Appalachian Mountains my entire life, and I have called Western North Carolina home for 20 years, the last 5 here in Yancey County. I have always been an avid reader, never leaving home without a book in my purse. Every time I move, the first thing I do is get my library card. I still remember and cherish the day I got my Amy Regional Library card. Finding out I could use it at any of the 4 different libraries felt like an invitation to an endless reading adventure. I love to read books of all different genres and subjects, but one topic I've returned to again and again has been the courageous early librarians who traverse these rural mountain counties. Brave individuals like Miss Dorothy and her bookmobile have been heroes to me, bringing people the books they needed and desired, come hell or high water. Well, now we have been through hell and high water, and we need our library and its dedicated, experienced librarians now more than ever. I personally was without power for 30 days. We were in survival mode, working hard, clearing acres of debris just to secure our safety. One day we hiked out and got a ride to the library from a neighbor. At the library, we got our first sense of normalcy in an abruptly upturned world, of safety, of welcoming, of relief. No questions asked. We as a community have been through so much, all of us, regardless of background and beliefs. We all experienced this devastation together, and we've all been there to help each other out of it. And gratefully, through the Amy Regional staff, we have all been welcomed into the library. Thank you, Wayne and Brittany. Why do you want to change that now? Why do you want to separate from the well-run, well-funded Amy Regional system? We were blessed to have an experienced and award-winning director at its helm until she was harassed to the point of resigning from her dream job. Thank you for your years of unbiased dedication, Amber West-Albert. You say you're being transparent, but you've left so many questions unanswered. This move seems counterproductive for our community in the wake of Hurricane Helene. You will take more of our hard-earned tax dollars to fund this unnecessary move. Why? Why do this to the staff who was a beacon of hope in our deepest time of need? Why make this unnecessary change when as a community we are still struggling to rebuild, and all available funds should be focused there? Maybe some in the community are fortunate to have moved on and can spend their free time fussing about books they don't like, but my family is still living in hurricane recovery every day. The library, the Amy Regional Library, is a welcoming reprieve from that. The current staff have been working hard to help everyone in our community. Why do you continue to work against that? I have never felt unwelcome in any library anywhere I've lived in these mountains, but already I feel unwelcome in your library vision. Is this the precedent you wish to set in our community? Division, censorship, unwelcoming to neighbors who are different than you? Are those the values you uphold as leaders in our community? Will this be your legacy? It only took 1 minute to make your divisive decision. It will only take 1 minute more to undo it, to right this wrong, to reunite our community,
Thank you, Joey.
and to aid our community rather than present yet another roadblock.
Our next speaker is Carol Golightly.
Sorry again for the slowness in getting up there. I'm coming.
Again, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And you're speaking on protecting our children.
Yeah. So I actually was planning to speak about my concerns about the unaccompanied minors policy, but that has been resolved. So I want to say thank you for your responsiveness and willingness to listen to input on that. I'm really heartened by that. Thank you very much. So instead, what I'm going to focus on today is about protecting minors from inappropriate and explicit content. Based on what I read in the Assembly article that came out last week, it seems that this is a concern for the commissioners and for many community members. And I want you to know that as a parent and as a human being, I share this concern. Research shows that the average age that kids are now exposed to porn for the first time is 11 or 12 years old. I think we can all agree, no matter our political leanings, that kids this age should not be viewing porn and that we should act as a community to prevent this. This is basic common sense. Where common sense seems to be failing us is in suggesting that the place kids are being exposed to porn is at libraries. Our beloved librarians, as has been mentioned, have been accused of being groomers and pedophiles. But the idea that kids are using the library to view porn is honestly absurd. 91% of 14-year-olds own a smartphone, and the 9% who don't certainly have friends who do. The most common place that minors first encounter porn are on TikTok or Instagram. And the videos that they're finding there aren't just pornographic, they're extreme and often violent. So if that's the problem that we want to address, and I do want to address this, and I hope you do as well, then we should be talking about how we can set community standards around smartphone access, and perhaps offering comprehensive sex ed in our schools to contextualize porn and be encountering online. But that's not what I've been hearing talk about. Instead, we've mostly been hearing talk about pride displays, which never contain pornography, never contain anything like kids have access to online. So I have to conclude that what we're trying to accomplish here is not actually preventing kids from viewing explicit materials. It's preventing them from encountering materials that are inclusive and accepting of queer people. Research has consistently shown that early exposure to porn harms kids, but exposure to materials that are inclusive and affirming about gender and sexuality makes them more safe, both mentally and physically. And I hope that our shared goal is to make the kids of Yancey County more safe. I appreciate the new policies that you just approved say that the library is going to be a welcoming and inclusive place. I look forward to this being the case, and we'll all be here to make sure that it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Ms. Kathy Weisfeld, Policies and Procedures. Thanks for coming, Kathy.
So I've kind of changed what I had written based on some of the things that have gone on. A lot of people have talked about transparency. Months and months and months ago, I read my 3 minutes and a list of questions and asked about what you all want to do and why you're doing it. And Jeff, you asked to have those list of questions, and you said that you wanted to make sure that you answered them all, and I gave you my list. And you've never had a public meeting to really tell us. Some of what's going on is we don't know what you're, I mean, now we know some policies, but we don't know exactly what you have in mind. You're saying you're going to keep services. We don't know what services you're keeping or what services you're cutting. So a lot of it is because you never told us your intention. Given that, I do want to address two of the policies that say that there will be no meetings when the library is closed and that there will be no people on the premises. People come in the evenings to those rocking chairs and use the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is on all the time. I have been to so many meetings and events at the library when the library is closed. Every April during National Poetry Month, Capri Girl Steele and I bring poets from all over the state to the library to read the poster poems that are in the windows all along Main Street. I hate to see that we can't have that. The other thing I want to address is I had a wonderful meeting with Whitney, and she told me a lot about her ideas. And one of the things she told me is that she really wants a board. I know that county libraries are not required to have a board of directors, but it is recommended. And she said it's because she really wants people who use the library to be there to advise her, to help her figure out what the community wants. I asked Lynn about that, and Lynn said, oh, the commissioners don't want a board of directors, they want to give it time to see what happens. I think it's better to give a board of directors now that represents the county so that we can have the library that we want.
Next is Mr. Danny McIntosh, and I'm not sure what you're talking about, Danny.
I want to talk a bit about the board of DNR.
That's what that says, board of DNR.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just didn't write it all the way out.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
The Board of E&R convened on April 1st. We began having hearings on that day. And over the next 10 weeks, we had 40 days of hearings, did some 420 hearings. That decreased the taxable value of the county some $40 million. And some 300 of those were directly related to the storm. And just in my estimation, I think there are a lot more properties out there that have been damaged by the storm that we've not heard from yet. And in realizing that those folks have had a lot of other goals and objectives, I'm trying to understand that, and we want to certainly meet with those folks in that situation and offer whatever help we can, consistent with the statutes. So I think the Commission's probably going to see some action along those lines even after the bills have gone out. So we'll try to keep you posted on how that's going as we move forward here. So, but I do appreciate your work on the budget. Now, it's like Lynn said, this value thing is a moving target, and there's no way you can pin an exact number on it. When I read a lot of the reports about what all's been damaged and who's been affected and how many acres of this and that, I'm saying, you know, where do they get these numbers? But I think the truth is, at this point in time, there's no real concrete information about exactly what has gone on here. We just know that it's been very devastating for the county. So that's where we are on that. The Board of E&R has concluded its business and timely filed appeals for this year, finished up on June the 4th. And I want to say I appreciate all of your participation in that. And the members you appointed to that board were good, concerned, fair citizens, and I appreciate their participation also. It's been a heart-wrenching year, and all of us have heard stories that, I mean, are just, they're truly pitiful. And I appreciate y'all being willing to listen to those stories. I think that's important, that people be able to talk about it. It's got to be hard. It's going on everybody mentally, I think. So, thank y'all for your participation in the board.
Thank you, Dan. Next is Miss Barbara Probst. I'm not sure that I said that right.
That's all right. You know, you're welcome to say props. Just don't say so.
Okay. Thanks for coming, Barbara. We've got 3 minutes.
I understand. Ma'am, may I say I'm very pleased to be here, and I appreciate your willingness to listen. I'm stepping back a little bit from the budget item. I would like to know simply why you want to change your library system. Why do you want to put a 18-year-old stop at one location and then at another in the time zone? Why do you want to say children under a certain age can't come? That type of thing. So could you just tell me what the deal is?
We get to listen to you. So you got 3 minutes to talk. It's not a dialogue.
I'm not interested in what I have to say. I'm interested in drive other people crazy with my talk. Can you manage that?
No, ma'am, we can't have a dialogue in the public comments, no comments on the statute. Sorry. You talk and we listen to you.
And are those your rules, or are you saying that they're set rules?
That is their policy.
Beg pardon?
That is their policy.
That's their policy. So where do you invite us to come for questions? So this lady is welcome to speak with me if I want to make an appointment. How about you, sir? Are you ready to?
I'll be at Ingles tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and I talk to everybody, not everybody, but I talk to many, many people all the time. But anyway, go ahead.
5 a.m. or p.m.?
Well, I think it's just kind of important that we get the exact reasons, not silly reasons or my own preferences or whatever, but real reasons, and put them down in writing so that we can evaluate them. And then we'll know, after we've evaluated them as a group, whether this is what we really want to do. You know, I'm not trying to say you should or shouldn't. I'm just trying to say you should think it through thoroughly. And the best way to do that is to have conversations between the people who know the situation and the people who want to know the situation. And I think it's clear you have a lot of people who want to know. A lot of people showed up tonight to share their thoughts with you. And I would like to hear, you know, thoughts between them and you and teachers, and, you know, just hear what it is you really want to change. What do you think you're changing when you change the age to 18 and the youngsters to not being able to come? Thank you.
Thank you.
No. I want you to know I'm 83 years old now. I have a PhD. I didn't start the college till my twins were born. I started college when they were 1 year old. And I stayed and I worked full-time at the university.
Barbara, thank you. You got your 3 minutes.
I just want you to understand that people work hard to sit here in this
Yes, ma'am.
audience.
Yes, ma'am. We realize that. 3 minutes is up. Thank you. If you can come back next month and talk about
They will answer.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you coming. Our
The
next
thing I want to
speaker.
know is, when do you answer?
Our next speaker is Mr. Chuck Ivy. Chuck Ivy. Thank you.
That they don't answer questions? Yeah, that's the question.
Barbara.
Well, this is evidently your advisor, legal advisor.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm asking him as a legal person, I don't have to, is that what has happened, that you have set up some rules that prohibit questioning?
Ma'am, your time's up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I find that very
Chuck,
rude.
Chuck, come on.
No, just a second. I
Chuck,
want to
Ivy.
hear
Ma'am, please be respectful, ma'am.
I have my own person here who walks me every place.
Grade 2, I'll give you better.
I beg pardon?
You're not grade 2, 83?
83.
There you go.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
When I get back, I'll be in your face all the time.
You can stand any way you want. That's fine. Yeah.
So, when funds go away,
Beg pardon?
when funds go away, the current federal administration is cutting funds. Governor Stein is fighting back, but has little support for his wisdom for our state, for his vision for our state from state Republicans. Without federal funds, we'll have to rely more on state funds, but state funds are shrinking. So how are counties like ours going to fund projects and services? We may have to rely more on private grants, but those grants are needed by more and more organizations and locations, especially post-New England. And those funds and their funders will be moving on to the next needy area. So there will be less funding available for Yancey. What's the commission planning then for Yancey County? Our school meal programs in Yancey County Schools is going to be cut, along with Title I funding cuts because the Department of Education goes away. Our funds for libraries going away because the feds closed the Institute for Museums and Library Services that provides about $160 million for those entities for all 50 states. And if so, will we be able to secure the kinds of funds that will run a Yancey County Library with the kinds of services we are now used to, now as part of Amy Regional Library? If we cannot secure those funds, what gets cut? Again, with all these federal cuts, state cuts, and private funding cuts, how are counties like ours going to fund projects and services? This County Board of Commissioners seems wrapped up on local control and are denying how much we actually rely on funds from outside. When funds go away, what then?
Our next speaker is Miss Lucy Dahl.
Yay, Lucy.
Hey, Lucy, thanks for coming.
Appreciate it. Whoa. Vertically impaired. I want to know why you have such an obsession with sex. David, your proclivities are understood by many in the community. Who cares? If I'm not mistaken, Mark St. Michel sponsored the infamous bathroom bill, which could only have been enforced if an officer was stationed at every public restroom in the state to examine everyone's genitals upon entering. The library issue only became an issue when Sheila Poehler, who wasn't even registered to vote here then, was sent by Moms for Liberty, which should be renamed Moms for Censorship, to report the Pride Month display in the library, which was pretty lame, actually. I mean, it was really little. Changing channels somewhat during the 2024 election campaign, Sandy Norton told some folks that Jim Parlier, a candidate, was not a Christian. That would come as a big surprise to him and his pastor and his fellow churchgoers at First Baptist Church, where he was faithfully attended for over 40 years. If any of you think this was too personal, it's nothing compared to how you've decided that other people's personal business is now yours to control. I miss the old county commission meetings, which were about infrastructure, taxes, and services, not controlling your constituents' right to read. And Mark, I told you this, Jeff, I told you this before. I really wish public comment would be at the top of the agenda again. Free speech only does some good when agenda items can be addressed before being voted on. Thank you.
Our next speaker, I can't read the last name, Holly B.
Holly Blockout.
All right, thanks for coming, Holly. Speaking to us about Mount Mitchell Golf Course. Appreciate you coming. You got 3 minutes, ma'am.
Well, I have to apologize to the librarians because I think so highly of our library and our librarians.
Lift up the microphone.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. However, we have a situation at the Mount Mitchell Golf Course, which is that there's no golf course anymore. And we have approximately 350 people who pay taxes and need help out there. We've got a disaster, and I know that everybody has had struggles with the disaster. But in a county that clearly needs our revenue, we have people who are putting their houses for sale, and there may be a fire sale at Mount Mitchell. We have a very vibrant, loving, kind, wonderful community down there, and if y'all can help us, we would appreciate it. I know y'all are in contact with all the political people in the state. You may know people who would like to own a golf course or help us down there, reconstruct it to do something different. I don't own the golf course, but we're finding out sort of day by day little bits of information about what might be happening down there. So anybody that has thoughts, help, anything like that, we would appreciate it. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful area. And I know that through the years, I have recently met Chris Sigmund, who's your planner. What a treasure you have with that gentleman, and I want to thank him for all the help that he's given us so far, and for y'all who have helped the whole county through a horrible disaster. And that's really about all I wanted to say. Oh, one other thing, I had one of our people in our area would like to know, we all filled out a form that I believe was a state form or a county form for private roads, and nobody's heard anything back yet. So it's
your man will be Christie.
Yeah, right. So we're hoping to hear about that soon.
Okay. Thank you, Holly. And again, this last name, but Frank, he's already making his way. What's your last name, sir? Covito. Covito. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it, Frank.
And thank you, Commissioners, for affording us this opportunity.
Also about the golf.
Was that?
Also about the golf.
Yes, I'm going to speak about the golf. Elaborate a little bit more on what Holly mentioned. I'm here on behalf of a committee established by a coalition of 8 property owner associations around the Mountain Mitchell Golf Course area in Houston. They've asked us to come up with a conceptual feasibility study outline for what could happen to that whole area. And several of us have some skills in that area and some history of it, so we put our heads together. And we're here basically to tell you, share with you that the county's sitting on a white elephant. The owners aren't moving fast in any fashion. In fact, we've been misled in several of our outreaches with them. It's lost opportunity, lost jobs. There's almost 100 jobs related to the golf course that are gone. Many of them are people in nearby Houston or Montilo and the surrounding area. We've lost several businesses as a result of it that facilitate and service the golf course area. And it's certainly, as you know very well, it's lost tax revenue to the county. So crisis presents opportunity, and we're seeing that with so many wonderful things that have been going on in our region in the past 9 months. We developed, as a task force committee, an outline for an economic feasibility plan for Mount Mitchell Golf Course and surrounding areas, capitalizing on the incredible assets that we have, our natural beauty, our culture, our history, and all of those kinds of things, and how we can locate that into a better development than we had before. We wish to invite the commission and or your designees to meet with us to discuss how through a public-private sector collaborative effort we might be able to advance this. Perhaps the Chamber of Commerce could be involved in this effort as well. We think there's a tremendous opportunity, and we really appeal to you for consideration of how we might be able to work with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Our next speaker is Mr. Jim Parlier. Yeah, there he is. Speaking about family library. Thanks for coming, Jim.
Thank you, Jeff. Everybody hear me? In case you don't know, I am Jim Parlier, and I've only lived here for 40 years, raised 3 children here. All 3 daughters are very successful young adults, and I'm very proud of them all. They helped during Helene's recovery immediately after. They brought water, food, cash, and they're still helping here in Yancey County. They love our county. They love their county. One of my daughters has a particular viewpoint, and I asked her permission, and I'm going to read you a statement that she made in the last few days. Some of you have probably already seen it. Happy Pride Month. In the light of the Hide the Pride campaign that's been loudly going on for now 2 years in Yancey County, I'd like to share a personal story that I don't typically share publicly. This is a story about how a rural community kept me in the closet until I was almost 30 years old. I am so grateful to say that I was raised by accepting, open-minded parents. I attended a welcome, loving church as a kid. I didn't need to fear what my closest loved ones would think if I told them I was gay. Still, I grew up with a deeply rooted self-hatred and fear of being who I really was. Why? Because of my community. The idea that homosexuality was vile and disgusting was so deeply ingrained in Yancey County that I suppressed and denied this reality about myself until my 20s. Literally nothing could be worse than being outed as gay. Trying to fit in caused a lot of regrettable behavior and misguided anger in my teens, and also shaped the young adult I became. To be clear, I did not experience direct hostility or poor treatment growing up. This is because I subconsciously suppressed my true self as a survival tactic. The person who treated me the poorest was me. The root of this issue, the library issue, is the local government signaling to folks of all ages, but most importantly, impressionable youth, there is only one correct and moral way to live your life. Now, nearly 20 years after I graduated from high school in this county, the hatred of others because of their sexual orientation or gender identity is so loud, so widely accepted in this small community that it's about to ruin the public library. Very nice, sir. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ingrid Ringler. Thanks for coming, Ingrid.
Thank you. I also wanted to say thank you for the debris removal trucks that reached my road this week. I would really like to be on your side on more issues. I promised some folks here that I would ask you what your plans are for Libby going forward, but I'm afraid that you plan to wing it, as you've winged this entire project, since no one in the last year could tell us what the Yancey library budget was for the year before, and Wayne can mention it offhand. And it's no use asking you anyway, because you don't answer any of our questions. You said you can't answer because the regional library system requires consulting all of the counties before making public comment. But withdrawing from that system is not a decision by the regional library. Aren't you allowed to speak to your constituents from the moment you form that idea of independence? But you don't talk to us. I keep hammering at this every month. This has not been a transparent process. You've never given us information, never responded to requests for meetings, never bothered to explain yourselves. It's undemocratic, it's un-American. The best that can be said for it is that it's technically legal, that you found some brilliant legal loophole that no one thought to make illegal yet. At what point are we allowed to discuss issues with our elected representatives? Because clearly the only time you're actually entertaining that is when you're not in your official positions, if we can just catch you at Ingalls. You don't respond to emails, to requests for meetings, to public comments at meetings, or to protests. Is the best that can be said for your administrative policies that they are not criminal yet? Is the only time your administration is answerable to the public at the ballot box? I know that the ballot box also does not respond to comment. At what point do these actions become illegal? At what point are elected officials required to answer the voices raised to them? When do we as Americans say that elected officials are beholden to their constituents?
And our last speaker is Citizen Bain.
Citizen Bain, that's correct.
Okay.
And, Mr. Whitson, I want to be sure that we synchronize our timers so that I want to be sure we synchronize our
Okay.
timers.
I'll tell you when to go.
Good. 3, 2, 1.
You want to go on your count or mine?
Mine.
All right.
Okay. I'm going for a few more minutes here. First, I do want to say thank you.
All right.
No,
Well, you
no,
might say
no,
that.
I'm not giving public comment, I'm giving public praise.
Well, let's start our clock. Go ahead, match yours.
Okay, I'm gonna
One, two,
Wait, no,
one,
wait.
2, 3.
I'm not very good at this. First, I want to say thank you, all of you. You've upped your game. You're actually looking at the speakers. You're showing engagement. Before, it was kind of a, well, how long can I keep this poker face? I'm impressed. I'm impressed. And Donnie, you haven't been getting to the lady on the bench all day. That's good. That's really good. I don't know who you are. Oh, in fact, I don't know who any of you are. You don't have names. And I don't know if that's intentional, but I don't know who any of you are.
It's probably not legal. Go ahead.
It's probably not what?
Nothing, I was just kidding. Go ahead.
Oh, nothing, I'll take that. And finally, I'm really angry at all of you. You said everything I wanted to say. And the notes that I have been working on in my sleep, while in all waking hours, are now totally useless. But I do have to say, when I was coming home from the meeting last month, I stopped by the day after, I stopped by the road and talked to a man about plants. And we talked for a few minutes, and then he looked at me and he said, "How's your son doing?" And I said, "What?" And it turned out this man knew my children. He knew where they went to school. He knew when they graduated. He knew where I lived, and he knew who all the people were on my road who lived there too. So that took me back. But it's Yancey County, and he did give me his name, and I know it's one of the 5 last names here in this county, so I did recognize it. And then he said to me, "So what's going to happen to the library?" I said, "You were at the meeting. No, that's not what I mean. What's going to happen to us? What's going to happen to our county? What's going to happen to our people?" He didn't say you or me. He said, I grew up in this county. It's the best county in the world, and I hate to see it being torn apart. He said, I was involved in county decisions that were nobody liked. I had to make decisions which made enemies with everybody. And so at the end of it, everybody hated me. But it had to be done. I took my fiduciary responsibility, and I took my oath of responsibility seriously. And then he went through the process, and he said, and it actually talking about it, he said it sounded like he didn't create a problem. He was given a problem, he created it. What time am I at? No way!
Look at yours.
No, I couldn't. I never got it set up.
You're at 301.29, and it's been a relief. So thank you very much.
Now wait a minute. But listen to me. Dickens got paid by the word. And so if you think I'm done, honey, you're gonna get
next month. We'll be here next month.
You're getting monthly installments.
Citizen Bank, everybody. She'll be here all week. Okay. Next on our agenda is our closed session pursuant to North Carolina Statute 143-318.11A5. Do I hear a motion to go into closed session?
Can you tell us what that is?
You can look it up. It's 143-318. It's for policies and
No, it's for the
matters.
purpose of the
EDC.
land activity.
Economic development. Land acquisition and economic development.